pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll.
Sure.
Councilmember Irby? Folks, can we please quiet down? The meeting has started. Councilmember Page?
Here.
Councilmember Wassinger? Here. Councilmember Gray? Councilmember Dolan?
Here.
Councilmember Tracus?
Present.
Councilmember Harder?
Here.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
I move for approval of the journal of the meetings of April 17th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Journal's approved.
I move for approval of the journal of the meeting of April 24th, 2018.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Journal's approved.
A motion to suspend the rules is in order for the purpose of adopting a resolution honoring H.C. Milford, former St. Louis County Councilman and St. Louis County Executive, who passed away on Monday, April 30th.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Please read resolution number 1.
Resolution number 1, introduced by Councilmembers Irby, Page, Wassinger, Walton, Gray, Dolan, Tracus, and Harder. Resolution, whereas H.C. Milford was a legendary figure in the history of St. Louis County, serving 12 years as a member of the County Council and filling an unexpired term as County Executive. And whereas Mr. Milford, known to his friends, family, and all county personnel as H, was very well liked and admired by all who knew him, both personally and professionally. His amiable and self-effacing nature allowing him to cooperate with others toward the goal of achieving success for his constituents. And whereas the County Council is saddened to learn of the passing of Mr. Milford, whose memory will live on in the hearts of all St. Louis Countyans, now therefore be it resolved by the County Council of St. Louis County, Missouri as follows. Section 1, the County Council expresses its condolences to the loved ones of H.C. Milford on the occasion of his death and extends its hope that his memory will serve as a blessing to his family and friends eternally.
I move for adoption of resolution number 1.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Irby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on resolution number 1, there are 7 ayes.
Resolution number 1 is adopted. I'd like to request a moment of silence for Mr. Milford. Thank you. We have no bid openings this evening, so we'll move to communications.
Mr. Chair, there are no tax compromises, zoning matters, or road and bridge matters this evening, so we'll move to other communications. Under other communications, item number 1, all districts.
Receive and file, and that will be the order.
Item number 2.
Receive, file, and the County Council will be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation. Same motion for item number 3, and that will be the order.
Item number 4, second district.
Receive and file, and the matter will be held on the order of business. That will be the order.
Item number 5, second district.
Receive, file, and the change of owner be approved as requested.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 6.
Receive and file, and that will be the order.
Item number 7, second district.
Receive and file, and the County Council will be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation. Same motion for item number 8, and that will be the order.
Item number 9, all districts.
Receive and file, and that will be the order.
Item number 10, first, 5th, and 6th districts.
Receive, file, and the County Council be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered.
Item number 11, 4th, and 6th districts.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered.
Item number 12, 4th district.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered. Please read the add-ons.
Item number 1, second district.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation for introduction tonight, and that will be the order.
Item number 2, first district.
Receive and file.
So ordered.
Item number 3, sixth district.
Receive, file, and the temporary expansion of the premises be approved as requested.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 4, second district.
Same motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 5, second district.
Receive, file, and the county council be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation, and that will be the order. Report of the county executive.
Nothing further this evening.
Thank you. Public forum.
We have 15 speakers this evening, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. When your name is called, please approach the podium and give us your name and address for the record. And we ask that you try to keep your comments to 3 minutes. First speaker.
First speaker this evening is Sandra DeLarber.
Good evening. I'm here to talk about the U-Haul they want to propose to build on Lee May Ferry. I am from a subdivision called City Farms Association that's been there for over 40 years.
Mr. Chair, can we ask the speaker to pull the microphone a little bit closer?
Thank you. Can you pull that a little closer so we can catch your comments?
Okay.
Thank you.
I've lived there for over 30 years. It's a nice, quiet neighborhood. We like it that way. The proposed U-Haul is about 25 feet from the entrance of our subdivision. This is a one entrance only, one exit only. So if there's an accident on the bottom of that hill, we will not be able to get in and out of our subdivision. This is a big concern to us. I've gone on the internet, seen the U-Haul accident reports. I used to work for the DMV. I also know that not all people will carry insurance. If they do, they'll get it for one day and cancel it the next. I would like to make sure that we are taken in consideration. We do not want the U-Haul. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sandra.
Next speaker this evening is Floyd Blackwell.
Good evening. Floyd Blackwell, 145 Signal Hill Drive, St. Louis, Cool Valley. This evening, I have a request, and first I'd like to say we have my condolence for the passing of Mr. H. Milford. I'm sorry to hear about the loss. We have an application was submitted for a low-income tax credit, the federal agency, and now the support is needed here at the county level. This program is called the Bluffs of St. Charles Park. We will create 45 new 1- and 2-bed units of housing, 37 apartments for seniors, and 8 townhomes for children aging out of foster care. Now, if you know anything about the children aging out of foster care, you don't have much of that, and it's really needed. Now, Cool Valley is a very quiet, clean area, convenient to everywhere. Next to the airport, Express Scripts, 170, 70. We don't have a senior facility. We're trying to get this done. This is as wholesome as mom's apple pie. This is a good project, and we're asking for your assistance. Now, children aging out of foster care have limited options. They really do. They don't have a place to go. This gives them at least 8 townhouses, all right? And we have a place down the street from us, St. Vincent's, and we're trying to be of service. It also engages a strategic relationship with the current property owner, Church of the Living God, to provide services to protect residents. The developer owner of this project also is committed to utilization of minority women-owned businesses. Now, this is as good as it gets. This is almost like a test project. It's small in its scope. It's really clean. It's decent. And we're asking for some assistance. We hope that you guys could look favorably upon this project. We thank you so much for your time. You have a good evening.
Thanks, Floyd.
Next speaker is Joseph Hoffman.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joseph Hoffman. I live at 6601 Higi Road in Afton. I'm here to talk about the proposed rezoning of Tower T from sporting complex to high-density housing. There's already plenty of houses in Afton. It's one of the most densely populated parts of St. Louis County. There's 4,480 residents per square mile in Afton right now, and it's growing even more. Like McBride just bought a little piece of My Redeemer Cemetery across the street from the high school there, and it's putting, excuse me, 38 more houses, really tightly packed houses, right close to where Tower T is right now. There's 4,480 residents per square mile in Afton compared to 1,966 for St. Louis County overall, 1,514 for Crestwood, 3,000 for Kirkwood, and 1,650 for Webster Groves. It's already tightly enough packed. Now Afton, it doesn't have a county park, it doesn't have a city park, it doesn't have any park. It has Tower T. Used to have that little bit of My Redeemer Cemetery too. The kids played there too, but that's gone for them. It's a real strain on the area. Higi Road is just a 2-lane road. Another 158 houses is just too much to put on a little stretch of road. My neighbors have been talking to some of the utility people who've been out there surveying. Apparently, excuse me, they intend to tie in the sewage, the water line, the sewers for those 158 houses, just in the existing sewers that are there right now, the 60-year-old sewers, and that just seems like it'd be a horrible thing to do. Some people could wind up with sewage backed up in their basement. Tower T acts as a great water absorber right now when there's storms. There's 27 acres of grass and dirt, and there's quite a few houses that are below Tower T. Some of it's on high ground. When that's all covered with roofs and asphalt and driveways, it seems like there's going to be a lot of people that have water problems that they don't have it now. It also seems like an undesirable place to build more houses. It's called Tower T because of the 350-meter tall radio towers, TV towers there. And if you look at, I looked at the map that they had in the South County Times, and they're building up almost to the base of one of those towers. Like you've got the guy lines coming out from towers, you've got houses within where the guy lines would come out. It seems like there should be some sort of a safety zone in there. I haven't seen it myself, but I've heard people who live there say that they've seen, when the weather conditions are right in the wintertime, huge chunks of ice go flying off that 350-meter tower and landing down in the driving range, landing down the golf course. That's not a big deal now. When weather's like that, there's nobody there. But when there's somebody's house there, when it hits their roof, when it lands on the car in the driveway, that could be not such a good thing. And I see I've used my 3 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Bill John.
Hi, Bill John, 6634 Oakland, St. Louis. I'm also speaking on behalf of Tower T. I grew up in Afton, spent my whole childhood there, and about 30 years. And I learned how to golf at Tower T as many thousands of kids did. And I would guess that probably a lot of you have been there as well. It's just a wonderful facility. Really, I would call it a beloved facility. Kind of like, any of the greatest parks here in town or landmarks. It's just something that we need to keep. And I would hazard to guess that a great percentage of people that you would talk to would want to keep the Tower T the way it is. But I think there's also a value in the recreation there and the kids that get to use it. It's really more for the kids than anything. It gives them a wholesome place to burn off their steam and learn something good and learn how to work together. I mean, it's not just the range. They have batting cages there. Corey League, it will have batting practice there. The high school has their golf team that practices there. All kinds of kids are there all the time. And then there's the putt-putt and that's real little kids too. And then you have a real nice par 3 golf course there that you can really learn on. Some of the holes are pretty long, and I mean, you only need a couple clubs, but you can learn how to play golf. And overall, it's just a beautiful place, and we need to keep it. And some of us are going to try real hard to do that, and we could really use you guys really thinking about it. Try to keep this place the way it is. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next speaker is Martha Duchild.
Good evening. Martha Duchild, 9158 General Grant Lane. I'm appearing before the council this evening to express my concerns regarding St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney Robert McCullough's handling of the charter violation against Councilman Ernie Tracus. While the merits of the case against Councilman Tracus are debatable, what is more troubling to me is the prosecuting attorney's decision to file a motion asking for a special prosecutor to investigate the allegation, effectively circumventing the county council. The letter and spirit of the county charter promotes local control, where the authority to act in local affairs is transferred from state law to a local charter. The preamble establishes the charter as the fundamental law for the government of the county. Section 2.070 of the county charter stipulates that the council shall be the judge of qualifications of its members. It is the council's duty to perform this statutory function, and the duty of those county officials who swore to uphold the county charter to respect this charter provision. In determining which officials should judge the qualifications of council members, the fundamental law of the St. Louis County Charter is clear. It is you, the members of the council, who are charged with this responsibility. You are the individuals designated by the charter to determine whether and or how to investigate the prohibition of office allegations against your peers. Issuing a writ of quo warranto that results in the ouster of a public official from office is an extreme step and should only be considered after the council has concluded its deliberations and provided direction on how to proceed. This situation needs explanation and clarification. And in the spirit of transparency, I request that the council members invite Prosecuting Attorney McCullough to the next meeting to provide answers to the following questions. Why didn't Mr. McCullough first inform the council of the allegation against Councilman Tracus and allow its members to consider the issue as stipulated by Section 2.070 of the county charter? Did Mr. McCullough's decision to file a motion asking for a special prosecutor preclude the council from fulfilling its own obligation as the judge of qualifications? Is it still possible for the council to investigate the allegation against Councilman Tracus concurrent with the suit that has been filed by St. Charles prosecuting attorney Tim Lomar for the same allegation? If so, which of the decisions rendered govern? The one in the courts or the one made by the council? The decision to bypass the council sets a troubling precedent and should not be allowed to proceed without explanation. Mr. McCullough owes the council and county residents answers to these questions. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next speaker is Michael Burton.
Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Michael Burton, 8032 Pembroke, 63123. I just want to get back to the basics. You know, what is Tower T? you've heard a lot of concerns that I have about the proposal to put 158 houses there, but what is Tower T? You know, the fabric of our community, a family-friendly place. We always have to keep that in mind. I'm going to keep it short. We have some really great people speaking here today. I want you to think about and remember why you first ran for public office. To do good things, to improve your community. That's why I'm sure all of you first started running for public office. And so we know there are delay tactics going on right now with McBride and Sons, but I would ask in the fall, when the proposal does finally come in, ask yourself, is Tower T a St. Louis landmark? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all.
Thanks, Michael.
Next speaker is Justin McCoy.
Piece of paper to pass around. Hi, my name is Justin McCoy. I'm at 7912 New Hampshire in Afton. And I wanted to speak today on the potential sale of the property that's being occupied by Tower T and its potential future rezoning. The picture that I have that I'm passing down, I took personally on Thursday, April 26th at 5:30 p.m. I was sitting in traffic on Watson heading eastbound, waiting to turn and then get on Higgy Road heading eastbound. This is one of many concerns that us residents that surround the property that is occupied by Tower T have. I'm not a golfer. I'm not into sports, so I'll throw that out there. I am an environmentalist. I am a horticulturist for a living. I care about the green space that our community has. And I also care about keeping space for families to enjoy, both kids, adults, all sorts of people. And then also the green space that would provide a home for wildlife in our area and give them a habitat and a place to find refuge. So I ask when McBride and Barra submit a plan in the future for potential rezoning of the property, that everyone on this council take special care, special consideration, consider everything that would impact both us surrounding residents, the property, the road infrastructure, sewage infrastructure, utility infrastructure, and all of that before voting yes or no on that potential rezoning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Nancy Herndon Ulrich.
Nancy Herndon Ulrich, 9911 Vassal Drive, 63123. Another one of the Tower T people. I want to remind you that you're here to represent us. And we have lost so much in our community. When my children were small, I was raised in this community too. We had farmers clubs, we had dance halls, we had skating rinks, we had the swimming club, Mackenzie Swim Club, we had Teen Town, we had, this is our last of 3 miniature golf courses left. We had the mini race cars. We have a very small park that they have taken everything out of that would be appealing to kids over maybe 7 years old. There's just not much left for our young people in the community. And you want your young people to grow up in the community where they interact with the adults and learn how to get along and how to become part of that community. And we don't have much left. And we don't have much green space left. Higgy Road, as my compatriots have said, is really overburdened now. Getting off and on it is a pit. And the thing is, if they put all these houses in, at first we will just back up on Higgy Road. And then within a year, just like they're doing on Music Road right now, they will be widening it and taking everyone's lawns. And if you look at the new houses that are coming in, there's very little lawn left around them. Where are people to recreate? When people don't have space to recreate, they start getting into trouble. I'm really concerned about the young people in our community and where they will be. I have company coming back up from Georgia They were raised here. Their parents were, rather. And the tradition is to go to Tower T while they're here. And we go around through the batting cages and the miniature golf and go to the spaghetti house and etc. Where are we going to go? There isn't much left. Please think of our community. And you're here to represent us, the people in the community, and not the developers. Thank you.
Next speaker is Rhonda Cotterman. Mr. Chair, could we ask the speaker to spell her name to make sure we have it correct in the record?
Yes, it's Kottemann.
Thank you, ma'am.
Again, Rhonda Cotterman from 7200 Mackenzie Road in Afton. Also here for Tower T. I grew up in Afton and I spent a lot of time up at Tower T. The driving range, not the batting cages, not my strong suit, but the mini golf. My kids also I chose to raise in Afton. My son was on the golf team at Afton High School. He's graduated and is in Merrimack now, but their only choices other than Tower T were to drive to Illinois to River Lakes, or they would sometimes go to a course in Fenton. So putting those kids on the highway when we have a place that is perfectly good for them right here is not really a good choice. As everyone else has said, we have very few green spaces left. We have Matilda Park, which is very small, not very many options there, and we frankly have tons of concrete already. And putting in more streets and more houses is a problem. The Rothman facility on Watson would be a lovely choice for some new houses and could probably very easily be rezoned. Tons of room in there. We need places for people to go. There's just nowhere else really in Afton other than 2 bowling alleys for kids to be able to go and have fun. And I don't want that to change because unfortunately if we don't have enough places for people to go and have fun and blow off steam, they're going to start going to other areas of the county, and Afton really doesn't want that. We want to keep our people there and we want to have a safe place for them to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Kira Braxton.
Good evening. My name is Kira Braxton. I reside at 19 Connolly Drive, St. Louis, Missouri. I'm here tonight with some of the 55 of us Justice Service employees. One, to really give our heartfelt thanks to Councilman Harden, Councilwoman Wassinger, Councilman Tracus, Councilman Dolan, Councilman Page. Special thanks to you, Councilwoman Irby and Councilwoman Walton Gray, for supporting us even back in November, before we ever got to this place, before the budget was ever settled. We did receive the email that was forwarded from Mr. Stinger's office. We really appreciate the agreement between the council and Executive Stanger on behalf of Justice Services. We do understand that there's a little gray area with the nurses, and we hope that you all can work that out and come to agreement just as you all have for us. But we really, really, really appreciate, just going back over the past 6 months, seeing the fight that you all have had for us. Councilwoman Wassinger asking direct questions, Ms. Irby, Tracus, Dolan, even you, Mr. Page, in the Prop P meeting last week. We really, really want you all to know that we appreciate this format, that we could come to you all and that we could get some justice and some democracy in what was done to the 55 of us at Justice Services. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next speaker is Jacob Guth.
We need to pick him up.
Mr. Guth, that microphone bends down.
Please don't close Tower T. I don't want houses there. And I use batting cages. Please don't close. Mr. Dolan.
And our next speaker is Gwyneth Guth.
I go to Manier Primary School. Please don't close Tower T.
Mr. Chair, if we could stop for just a moment. Somebody lost some keys. And do we have them or somebody's looking for them?
They're in the room.
Oh, somebody's looking for, so if anybody sees keys laying about, please let this officer here at the front of the room know.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Tom Applebaum.
I don't think I need the.
Just dress together.
But thanks. My name is Tom Applebaum. I live at 12739 Cypress Way Drive. And I'm here on behalf of the company Y Green Energy Fund to give you a brief update on what we've been able to do with the Missouri Energy Savers Program. The program that's run in the county here. The residential portion of the program in Missouri has funded over $1 million now. So we've reached that milestone. That's a big one. And those are actual funded projects, nothing just like in the pipeline. This is money that's already gone out to contractors. We have a lot more that's actually in the pipeline. Another big milestone we've had is that we are now able to fund small commercial projects, which is really important because that's kind of an orphaned portion of the market because that's typically hard to actually fund for these type of programs because you have to pool the funds, much like with residential programs, and the mechanics behind it are different from residential. But our account manager, Kathy Evans, is here. She's very excited about that too. So we're going to address a part of the market that hasn't been addressed before. Nationwide, Y Green has funded over $75 million in commercial projects. It's the largest of any PACE provider in the country. And I personally have been going out to municipalities within the county to let them know about the program, to find out if they have any questions or concerns, because the board actually interfaces as a political subdivision within the county and it interfaces with the collector and the assessor's office. I want the municipalities to know that this program is available to their constituents, and so far the response has been extremely positive. And I'm going to keep at it until I've reached all the municipalities. So we're really excited about the progress that we've been making. Everything has been, we've worked very closely with the collector and assessor's office. We're going to be having assessments being put on the rolls for the first time this year. So that's obviously critical. And like always, I'm available if you have any questions or concerns. You can contact me directly. Or reach out to the board chair, Jim Holtzman, who's been doing a great job, keeping things moving at a reasonable pace with regards to the program. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Next speaker is Tom Sullivan.
Mr. Chairman, I continue to question how this council can put the zoo sales tax on the ballot when there are so many unanswered questions, especially when it would give the zoo a greater than 100% increase in tax dollars. Maybe this is why a Channel 5 poll has shown 55% against the zoo tax. The first question is whether those 425 acres in North County has actually been bought for the zoo. Apparently it has not. So how can you put this proposal on the ballot? This is just one of many examples where there is no safeguard for taxpayers. Also, the land is to be bought by the St. Louis Zoo Association, an organization that operates outside public control and accountability. A breeding farm is hardly economic development. Since it will be owned by the Zoo Association, it will pay no property taxes or sales taxes to St. Louis County, to the local school district, or anyone else. Instead of a tax hike, many have suggested the zoo enact a charge for admission. Even Ben Uschitel, a former chair of the Zoo Museum District, has said the same thing. In a Post-Dispatch commentary, Mr. Uschitel claims that of the 3.2 million zoo visitors every year, about 60% are actually from outside the area. Just a reasonable charge would yield many millions of dollars. City and county residents would still get in for free. Substitute Bill number 2 states if St. Louis County voters approve the sales tax, the zoo intends to charge admission to residents of any city or county that does not approve a sales tax for the zoo. But this means nothing as it doesn't require it, and state law would have to be changed, something the zoo has adamantly resisted. The Post-Dispatch had an article today about the proposed zoo tax. It included a picture of a bear at the zoo. This is what people think of when they think of the zoo, but that is where less and less zoo funding is going. Tens of millions of dollars are being spent on worldwide conservation efforts, and now tens of millions of dollars are planned to be spent on a breeding farm for which few details have been provided. The much larger question is one of priorities. St. Louis County in general, and North County in particular, face some serious issues: failing school districts, crime, homelessness, the list goes on. Not one of these issues will be helped by giving tens of millions of dollars more to a zoo that is already swimming in money. Human needs should have a greater priority. With the zoo proposal, some council members take the lazy attitude of, let the voters decide. There are two things the council should be sure of before putting a proposal on the ballot. One, that the zoo needs the money. Two, it's an honest proposal. Neither is the case. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Tom.
Next speaker is Brandon Fisher.
Thank you all for being here tonight and allowing me to speak to you. I'm here on behalf of the Tower T crisis, and I am homeschooled and I play golf at Tower T. Tower T is very important to me. It is an affordable place to play golf and learn and practice. There are many lessons that I have learned from the sport, such as respect, honesty, integrity, and sportsmanship. Tower T has opened their doors to people of all ages and walks of life to learn and master the sport for 55 years. They have been an important part of our community, and it would be a tragic loss for it to be turned into a subdivision. Where will young people like myself be able to afford to play and practice? Where will seniors on a fixed income be able to afford a sport that keeps them healthy and active? Where will Afton High School golf teams go to practice? This is important to me and the community I live in. Again, I would like to thank the council for allowing me to speak tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Brandon.
Final speaker this evening is Greg Smith.
I waive, thank you.
No more speakers, Mr. Chair.
That concludes our public forum. Please proceed with the introduction of bills.
Bill number 85, introduced by Councilmember Page, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to accept a grant of up to $2,000 in additional funding from the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services beyond that accepted pursuant to ordinance number 25,768, appropriating the same for support of the summer food service program and authorizing the county executive to execute necessary documents. Bill number 86, introduced by Councilmember Harder, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a contract with Spirit Valley Development, LLC, for lease of Lot 8A at Spirit of St. Louis Airport. Bill number 87, introduced by Councilmember Dolan, an ordinance appropriating and setting apart the sum of $85,000 from the unappropriated balance of the general fund for support of installation of a nitrogen generator for the Courts Garage dry sprinkler system. Bill number 88, introduced by Councilmember Page, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to accept a donation of up to $5,000 from Enterprise Leasing Company of STL LLC, doing business as Enterprise Holdings, for a family court foster parent appreciation event, appropriating the donation for support of said event. Bill number 89, introduced by Councilmember Dolan, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a contract with the city of Glendale for partial reimbursement of the cost of the Berry Road Sidewalk project. Bill number 90, introduced by Councilmember Walton Gray, an ordinance declaring the public necessity of and providing for the rehabilitation of bridge number 117 and construction of an adjacent pedestrian bridge and establishing of a public road designated as Spanish Pond Road, lying entirely within unincorporated St. Louis County, directing the acquisition of real property therefore, and authorizing the county executive to execute contracts, agreements, and related documents, CR-1676. Bill number 91, introduced by Councilmember Page, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute contracts with various consultants for advisory services related to clinical efficiencies of Department of Public Health primary care and public health service programs. Bill number 92, introduced by Councilmember Dolan, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a contract with Jacobs Engineering Group Incorporated for professional services in connection with the Shaw Park Drive Parking Garage and Transit Center, St. Louis County Public Works number 16-021-OC. Bill number 93, introduced by Councilmember Page, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a contract with Vick and Kistner PC for legal services. Mr. Chair, oh, I'm sorry, wait, we have one more. I apologize, I have my bills numbered wrong. Bill number 94, introduced by Councilmember Page, an ordinance amending Title I, Chapter 110, St. Louis County Revised Ordinances 1974 as amended Division of Law by repealing and reenacting Section 110.040 pertaining to employment or contracting for special counsel. Mr. Chair, that is all the bills.
Perfection.
Bill number 305, introduced by Councilmember Harder.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move for perfection on Bill 305.
Second.
All in favor of perfection of bill number 305, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
It's not clear to me, the ayes and the nays. Would you like a roll call?
Yes, you can have a roll call.
Could you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Erby?
No.
Councilmember Page?
No.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
No.
Councilmember Tracus?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on the motion for perfection of bill number 305, there are 4 ayes and 3 noes.
Bill number 305 is perfected. Do you have a comment?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I've got just a quick comment about that to let everybody know where I am with this. With passage of Bill 305, there's been a great deal of discussion in the coming weeks over this bill, and I am asking that the various parties agree to meet with me in the coming weeks to create a new bill that allows competition in residential and commercial areas of PACE financing. I also want to work on another bill with this group of folks that will improve an ordinance that will improve consumer protections for people that use the PACE programs in St. Louis County. So this will be more discussion and will probably be in the next multiple weeks as we get in closer and hone this piece of legislation, and we're not going to rush this. So that's just my comment about the bill at this point.
Thank you. Councilman Tracus.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to represent that my vote in the affirmative to perfect this tonight is based entirely on Mr. Harder's statement with regard to further inspection of this legislation and amendment of it. So I don't want that vote yay tonight to in any way indicate that I'm going to vote in a similar fashion for final passage. It'll depend on the language of the bill at that time.
Okay, any comments? Okay. Yes.
Yes, I too welcome the additional discussion about this matter, and hopefully we'll have a couple of committee meetings to tighten up the bill.
Okay.
Well, while we're making comments for the record, I was never told anything, so I'll just throw it let you know.
Okay, any other comments on this bill?
The bill's been pending for a while, so there's
Yes, it has.
plenty of time to ask questions and do research and.
I wasn't
all that
told
kind
we
of
were having this other discussion.
Okay, next item.
Bill number 32, introduced by Councilmember Page.
I'd like to drop bills 32, 33, 34, and 35. After some extended conversation and discussion with Budget Director, it's clear that we don't need any additional borrowing at this time, and that will be the order.
Bill number 44, introduced by Councilmember Erby for Councilmember Page.
We had a good hearing on this topic today, and I'd like to hold this bill for another week and discuss among the council members how we'd like to proceed with code enforcement fees. And hopefully we can take this up again next week, so that will be the order.
Bill number 54, introduced by Councilmember Erby.
I move for perfection of bill number 54.
Second.
All in favor of perfection of bill number 54, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
I have a question, and I'm in favor of all the raises, like I've said before, but we had another alternative, which was actually from the beginning sent down to us, where we could actually do a raise for the justice service workers separately, and then the nurses separately, and that would come out of the children's, or out of the health department. You know, I understand both sides of this, but I do think we need to look at that other bill. So I'm in favor of the raises on both sides, 100%, and I agree with Councilwoman Erby. I was just curious if we could address the other issue about the paying for the raises for the nurses out of the health department. I know it's been brought up before, but that would keep any potential litigation out of the picture, and then the raises would be guaranteed, and if we went that route. So for now, I'm just going to vote no. I know it's going through, and I appreciate that, but hopefully we can have more dialogue. Thank you.
Motion carries. Bill number 54 is perfected.
Bill number 74, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move to perfect bill number 74, and I appreciate the conversation we had today with our health directors around.
Second.
All in favor of perfection of bill number 74?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 74 is perfected.
Bill number 79, introduced by Councilmember Harder.
Please, want to perfect bill number 79.
Second.
All in favor of perfection of bill number 79?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 79 is perfected.
Bill number 80, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move to perfect bill number 80.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 80 is perfected.
Bill number 81, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move to perfect bill number 81.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 81 is perfected.
Bill number 82, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move to perfect bill number 82.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 82 is perfected.
Bill number 83, introduced by Councilmembers Dolan and Tracus.
Move to perfect bill number 83.
Second.
All in favor of perfection of bill number 83?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 83 is perfected.
Bill number 84, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move to perfect bill number 84.
Second.
All in favor of perfection of bill number 84, say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Motion carries. Bill number 84 is perfected. Final passage.
Bill number 353, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move to hold bill number 353, and 353 is held.
Substitute bill number 1 for bill number 66, introduced by Councilmembers Walton Gray and Dolan. Mr. Chair, we have a substitute bill.
Please read the substitute.
Substitute bill number 2 for bill number 66, introduced by Councilmembers Walton Gray and Dolan. An ordinance calling and providing for the holding of an election in the county of St. Louis on the 6th day of November 2018 for the purpose of submitting to the qualified voters of St. Louis County a proposal to impose a countywide sales tax of 1/8 of 1% for the purpose of providing funds for the management and care of animals and other zoological activities and zoological facilities of the St. Louis Zoological Park Subdistrict, in addition to all other sales tax presently levied, and imposing said sales tax conditional upon approval of the proposal.
I move for the adoption of substitute bill number 2 for bill number 66.
Second. All in favor of adoption of substitute bill number 2 for bill number 66, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Substitute bill number 2 for bill number 66 is adopted.
I move that the council consider, by suspending the rules, substitute bill number 2 for bill number 66 for final passage.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Substitute bill number 2 for bill number 66 will remain on the final passage order of business on the agenda. That's not right. It's on the final passage tonight.
Yes.
May I read for final passage?
Yes.
Thank you. Substitute bill number 2 for bill number 66, introduced by council members Walton Gray and Dolan, and ordinance, that's all I need to read, sorry. Introduced by council members Walton Gray and Dolan.
Before I move for final passage, again, I worked pretty hard on this bill, trying to address some of the concerns. I did ask our council to address the concern about the Zoo Association's purchase and transfer of property to the Zoological Society. So those things have been addressed. I'm not an attorney. I can only rely on the council that we have, and we don't have our own attorney. So I hope that this bill addresses most of the concerns that I have been given. And with that, I move for final passage of substitute bill number 2 for bill number 66.
Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Before I vote, I would just like to say that I had some questions about this bill as well. Excuse me, although I've said before how excited I was when I was first presented with this, the prospects of expanding the zoo and the addition to North County. I think that all of my questions have been addressed, but what I want to say right now is I don't vote lightly on any bill. I think I spend a lot of sleepless nights trying to decide how I'm going to vote. I put a lot of thought into it. I've polled people everywhere I've gone, every event that I've gone to. And the people who were in favor outweighed the people who were against it. So I don't feel it's lazy of me to vote to put this on the ballot so that people can decide. I respect Mr. Sullivan because I know he does his homework on a lot of these issues, but I don't want to be termed as lazy, just a person who did their homework. And that's why I've decided to vote aye on this bill.
Councilmember Page?
Well, I'd like to thank Councilwoman Walton Gray for the extra effort to try and address the concerns that we heard over the past few weeks here. And this is a second substitute, but I think it's a good bill, and I vote aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Yes. I very much expect a robust debate as the campaign for passage of this tax is presented to the voters. I do know that the St. Louis Zoo has been researching different options. This is certainly not the only option to fund things. And if this does not pass, they will go back to the drawing board. The option presented today is to allow the voters to decide if this is a way to fund the future of the zoo's needs. And I think the zoo has made a credible case for allowing the voters to consider it. I don't consider that the easy way out. I consider that the right way out. It's up to us, all of us, as to whether or not we want to fund these types of institutions. And that is why I support putting this on the ballot so that the voters can make the decisions. I vote aye.
Councilmember Gray?
Of course, I vote aye. I did want to address the fee. The main zoo cannot charge a fee because of state law, but the extension of the breeding facility or whatever attraction that they put there can charge a fee. So that's, I wanted to make that correction. And with that, I vote aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Well, thank you, Councilman Gray, for sponsoring the bill, and I agree with the other council members. I personally can't take any of these things lightly. It's like Councilman Irby was saying, you know, I take it home with me. It's not something to just come in here and vote on. But I think in all fairness, we can all tend to agree or disagree, but that's the beauty of democracy. You have an opportunity to vote on something. I don't think it should be 7 people here to decide what the fate of any of these issues. So at least this particular ordinance, so I agree wholeheartedly that it's everybody's right to vote, and if you agree or disagree, then we'll find out where we're at after that. So with that, I'll say aye.
Councilmember Tracus?
For all of the reasons that I'm on the record for with respect to this tax, the regressive and repressive nature of it, impacting the people least able to afford it, the impact on retail sales, the fact that the county has other needs, in my opinion, much more pressing from an infrastructure standpoint, to devote tax money to this, and just the very nature of increasing taxes. And the simple reality that we have a fiduciary duty as elected officials to vet proposals like this. So refusing to shirk that duty, I vote no.
Councilmember Harder?
I've thought about this long and hard as well, talked to my constituents, been on the radio talking about it. I too have done my research. I feel that this is not the first and best way to ask for money for this organization. I have nothing against the zoo. I love the zoo, love the museums. I just don't see this as the time or place for a tax for something like this when other means of financing have not been exhausted. When you come before residents of St. Louis County for a regressive tax like this, it should be the last resort, and it should be something that is almost an emergency situation that all in the county benefit from. And I think other means need to be exhausted, including some type of admission fee or other types of funding. So with that in mind, I vote no.
Mr. Chair, on substitute bill number 2 for bill number 66, there are 5 ayes and 2 noes.
Substitute bill number 2 for bill number 66 is finally passed.
Bill number 75, introduced by Councilmember Irby.
Hold on a minute, Jen, I'm coming.
Where?
Page 20 on that page.
Oh, yeah. I move for final passage of bill number 75.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Irby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on bill number 75, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 75 is finally passed.
Substitute bill number 1 for bill number 76, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move for final passage, substitute bill number 1 for bill number 76.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Irby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
No.
Councilmember Tracus?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on substitute bill number 1 for bill number 76, there are 6 ayes and 1 no.
Substitute bill number 1 for bill number 76 is finally passed.
Substitute bill number 1 for bill number 77, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move for final passage of substitute bill number 1 for bill number 77.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Irby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
No.
Councilmember Tracus?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on substitute bill number 1 for bill number 77, there are 6 ayes and 1 no.
Substitute bill number 1 for bill number 77 is finally passed.
Substitute bill number 1 for bill number 78, introduced by Councilmember. No, we'll have to read that first, and then I will say this. I'm sorry, substitute bill number 1 for bill number 78, introduced by Councilmember Tracus. Mr. Chair, we have a substitute bill.
Please read the substitute bill.
Substitute Bill number 2 for Bill number 78, introduced by Councilmember Tracus, an ordinance submitting to the qualified voters of St. Louis County, Missouri at the election on the 7th day of August 2018, a proposition to amend the St. Louis County Charter by amending section 8.050 by adding a new section to 4.090 and by adding a new Article 12 to enhance St. Louis County government financial accountability and transparency.
Would you please read the first sentence of section 2, because we had 2 substitute bills circulating. Make sure we have the right one.
Section 2, the following question is hereby submitted to the, well, mine isn't the official version, but the following question is hereby submitted to the qualified voters of St. Louis County and shall be voted upon in an election to be held as herein before provided.
Yeah, that's good. Well, make sure we read into the record the right sub. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I move for adoption of substitute bill number 2 for bill number 78.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Substitute bill number 2 for bill number 78 is adopted. And substitute bill number 2 for bill number 78 will remain on final passage order of business on the agenda until the next regular council meeting. Resolutions?
We have no additional resolutions this evening, Mr. Chair.
Unfinished business.
Item number 1.
Please hold on the order of business, same motion through item number 3, and that will be the order.
Item number 4, 3rd District.
Hold on the order of business, please.
So orders.
Item number 5.
Hold on the order of business. I do believe that the resolution on this is around the corner. We're waiting for Pattonville School District to finish their conversation with the developers.
And moving on to new business, Mr. Chair, we have 2 prepared orders this evening.
I move for adoption of orders number 1 and 2.
Second. Jen, I don't have a copy of those. Could you read the title of each?
Sure. The caption for order number 1 is in the matter of communication from Paul Kreidler, Acting Director of Administration, and Robert Jenkins, Director of Procurement, requesting authorization to dispose of certain property.
Okay, I've got them here. All right, all in favor of adoption of orders 1 and 2? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Okay. Any other comments from any council members before we adjourn?
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes.
Councilman Dolan, I appreciate what you're saying on the raises. I would like to have a continued dialogue on it, but the concern with funding it from the health department is that it's deficit spending. So that's why I don't think that's the best fund for this to come out of. And these people work in justice services. They've been in that building. They serve the public. So I just want you to know where I'm coming from on that. Thank you.
Right, and the language says for public safety, police and public safety, so I think we've established that they're public safety. It should come out of Prop B.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We adjourn.